Morning, folks. Morgan here, coming to you from Redondo Beach, California. This is a lecture intended for Friday, March 20th, 2020. We're going to be dealing with the names or nomenclature of acids and bases. And this might surprise you a little bit, but we're actually going to be finishing off a lecture outline from Unit 2, and we'll be on page 10 of 10. So this might be a good spot for you to hit the old pause button, dig through your binders, find that outline, and get set up again to play. Okay, welcome back. Hope you were successful in finding that outline. Okay, now we're going to be starting off today talking about acids specifically, and our subcategory is going to be called binary acids. Now, binary acids are made up of two elements, hydrogen, of course, and then some type of an anion. So, HF would be named hydrofluoric acid. So what we're going to do is we're going to start these names off with hydro. We're going to put the root name in there, and then we're going to end with the word acid. So HCl would be hydrochloric acid. HBr would be hydrobromic acid. HI would be hydroiodic acid, and H2S would be hydrosulfuric acid, which can be a bit of a misleading name because there is actually a sulfuric acid also, but H2S is hydrosulfuric acid. And a brief reminder that you have a really spiffy little handout called Nomenclature Simplified, and all these rules are mapped out in there. I recommend you actually read through it. Okay, the second type or category of acids that we're going to talk about are called oxyacids. Now, oxyacids are made up with hydrogens and a polyatomic ion that contains oxygen as well as some other element. And again, I'm going to ask this simple question. Did I mention you need to know your polyatomic ions? Okay, so let's talk about the difference between H2so4 and H2so3. H2so4 contains the sulfate ion, and H2so3, 2-, is the sulfite ion. Okay, sulfite. So, when you have an oxyacid whose polyatomic ion contains ATE, its name is going to end in ic acid. And if that polyatomic ion name ends in ITE, it's going to be called is acid. So H2so4 is sulfuric acid, and H2so3 is sulfurous acid. Now over here we have nitrate. This would be nitrite. So this would be nitric acid, and HNO2 would be nitrous acid. Now, we would extend this into the other polyatomics that have even more or fewer oxygens in them, with like ClO minus, ClO2 minus, O3 minus, ClO4 minus. So while this is chlor8 and HClO4 would be known as chlor ic acid, ClO4 I'm sorry, that's HClO3. That's my bad. I feel bad about that, a little guilty here. The ClO4 minus would be known as perchloric acid because this was perchlorate. So this is chloric, this is perchloric. This would be chlorous acid if it was HClO2. So then with ClO minus, which would be HClO, we would have hypochlorous acid. Okay, so that's acids. Let's move on to bases. Naming bases is much easier. You've done a lot of it already. It just involves a polyatomic ion called hydroxide. OH minus is hydroxide. So NaOH is sodium hydroxide. KOH is potassium hydroxide. LiOH would be lithium hydroxide. Now, the ratios don't matter. We follow the same naming. Magnesium hydroxide. We do not put in any prefixes like mono, di, or tri because these are ionic compounds and the charges will tell us how many hydroxides are present. The only exception being when we're dealing with transition metals, we would include the Roman numeral that tells us the charge on the transition metal. So this would be barium hydroxide. And this would be calcium. CaLC, calcium hydroxide. Okay, so that's how we name acids and bases. And believe it or not, that is the lecture for today. So we've given you homework called acid-base nomenclature, which we want you to complete. Okay, check the webpage for instructions about pH number 3 because that's going to be collected. And what we would like to remind you of, if you hadn't noticed from Schoology, is that there is going to be a ChemX today. I really can't go a Friday without saying that. And ChemX is going to happen live from my home office. We have put a link up so that you can get the lecture outline and information about how to log in to the Zoom meeting. Okay, hoping you're having a good day, staying safe and staying healthy. This is Morgan signing off.